All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating new report from Virtualization Options LLC, a Colorado-based tech research firm, and it details a pretty monumental leap, the move from GPT-4 to GPT-5. And trust me, this isn't just another version number. We're talking about a full-on paradigm shift in artificial intelligence. So, we all got pretty used to GPT-4, right? It was a total game changer. Which brings us to the big question on everyone's mind. What's the deal with GPT-5? Is it just, a little bit better? Or are we looking at something completely different? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll refresh on what made GPT-4 so great. Then we'll pop the hood on GPT-5's new design, see what new smarts it's packing, and how that actually makes a difference for you. We'll also get into the trade-offs. Yep, we're talking power, price, and even personality, before we wrap up with what it really means to have a new AI partner.
Okay, let's kick things off by taking a quick step back. Because to really get the jump to GPT-5, you first have to remember the powerful, but let's be honest, pretty limited world of GPT-4.
I mean, GPT-4 was, and still is, incredibly impressive. Its knack for understanding context, writing code, whipping up creative content, it just set a whole new bar. It became this essential tool everywhere, from customer service bots to helping developers. It totally changed what we thought an AI could even do. But it wasn't perfect, was it? For all that power, it was super expensive to run, and we've all seen the hallucinations when it just confidently makes stuff up. It was mostly stuck in the world of text, and maybe the biggest one, no memory. Every single chat started from a blank slate. These limitations are exactly why a totally new approach was needed.
And that brings us right to GPT-5. Now, the main thing you need to understand is this. It is not just a bigger GPT-4. Nope. It is built on a completely new foundation designed from the ground up to solve those exact problems we just talked about. Okay, so GPT-4 was built on what's called a transformer architecture. You can kind of picture it as one giant single pipeline. Every single question you asked, whether it was simple or super complex, went through the exact same sequential process. Powerful for sure, but not exactly efficient. All right, buckle up because this is the revolution. On the left, you see GPT-4's single pathway, but on the right, that's GPT-5's hybrid system using something called graph neural networks. Instead of one massive brute force pipeline, it has all these specialized modules, and it dynamically routes tasks based on what they are. It's like the difference between a single-lane country road and a smart highway system with express lanes. It's just smarter. So what does a fancy new architecture actually get you? Let's talk about the real, tangible improvements. This is where that smart design really starts to show off.
First up, a huge leap in just being reliable. GPT-5 makes factual mistakes 45% less often than GPT-4, and that is an absolute game changer for professional fields like medicine or law, where, being right actually matters a lot. And here's the crazy part. Even though it's a way bigger model, it's over 3 times more efficient. That whole dynamic routing thing we talked about, it means it uses its brain power so much more intelligently. It can process complex stuff faster while actually using less energy. And this final number might be the most important one of all, a 67% higher success rate in solving those tricky, multi-step reasoning problems. This is where it stops just spitting back information and starts getting into genuine, human expert-level problem solving. And the way it reasons is totally different. The report gives us a great example of a locked room mystery. GPT-4 would just kind of guess based on mystery novels it's read. But GPT-5, it takes this almost forensic approach. It's completely different. The process is just fascinating to watch. First, it analyzes all the constraints, the physics, the timeline. Then it builds this map of what's even possible. And after that, it just logically, systematically eliminates all the contradictions one by one. It's not guessing, it's deducing. And that lets it find solutions that account for these subtle little details that GPT-4 would have blown right past. The next big breakthrough is all about the senses. Yeah, GPT-4 could kinda peek at images, but GPT-5 was built from day one to be truly multimodal. It can seamlessly understand and generate text, images, video, and audio, all inside one unified system.
And now for maybe the most dramatic change of all. Memory. GPT-5 has this dynamic memory system that actually lasts across conversations. It remembers your preferences, things you've talked about before, who you are. This completely changes the dynamic. It turns it from just a tool into a real partner. Okay, enough of the technical stuff. How does all this high-tech advancement actually show up in the real world? Let's check out a couple of examples. So let's say you're planning meals. You ask GPT-4 for a weekly plan on a budget, and you'll get a pretty generic list. But ask GPT-5 the same thing, only with real-world constraints, like, say, $100 and you only have a microwave and a hot plate. It comes back with a detailed, optimized plan that you can actually use. It understands and respects the real world.
And for developers, oh man, the leap is even bigger. It goes from just writing little bits of code to being a full-on coding partner. It can understand huge, complicated code bases, proactively suggest ways to improve the architecture, and even generate production-ready UIs right out of the box.
But look, it's not all sunshine and roses. While GPT-5 is just undeniably more powerful, using it comes with some interesting trade-offs in its personality, in safety, and yeah, in its price tag.
You know, this quote from The Verge just nails the double-edged sword here. GPT-5 is way more accurate, way more reliable, but that precision sometimes comes at the cost of that conversational warmth, those creative little quirks that a lot of us actually liked about GPT-4. It's more of an expert, and maybe a little less of a creative muse. And all this power, of course, comes with a new price structure. You've got a limited free tier, a plus plan for everyday users, and then a full-on enterprise tier that unlocks all the bells and whistles for businesses. So let's just pull back for a second and look at the big picture here. When you put all these changes together, the architecture, the memory, the reasoning, you start to realize this isn't just a better tool. This is the beginning of a totally new kind of collaborative partner. This summary chart really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? From the basic architecture all the way to how it feels to talk to it, the differences are just fundamental. You can literally see the shift from a forgetful, text-based tool to a persistent, fully sensory, and deeply analytical partner. It's a total redefinition. So, as GPT-5 gets more and more woven into our work and our lives, the question stops being if we'll use it and starts being how we'll change our own habits to collaborate with it. This new partner is officially here. So the real question is, are you ready? Thanks for tuning in.